Oklahoma is the worst place. There's nothing there. Nice. Oh, okay. Well, there's a school that's offering a bachelor's degree in gunsmithing. Did I say it's the worst place?
Stop it. Welcome
to the Naked Apple digitally.
Here we are to save the day.
I had a late soccer game, so I was already digitally calling in, and then all three of our wives are sick, so and they don't hang out together. So I don't know.
Oh, that's
Something's
weird.
happening.
It's weird that they don't hang out together.
So they are in lockdown.
The women. Yeah. And we were gone last week because something.
I don't know. You guys had something going on. I was jet lagged out of my mind.
Oh,
I'm
yes,
still a
that's
little
right.
jet lagged. Everything's spinning. I don't know why.
Well, it's all that Irish cream, probably.
It has been for like a week and a half now.
You got to lay off the Irish cream.
Apparently.
What we're trying to say is we're glad to be back.
Yes, especially since, we left you with Romney sucks, and then Romney coincidentally makes the best decision he's ever made to not run again. So
We take credit for
actually
that.
were telling the truth. I do that quite a lot. Yet people are always surprised.
not saying we did that. However, timing, there's no such thing as coincidence.
I have to
That
say
is one
I
big
am a
pile of
little
shit.
Yes.
I have to say I am a little disappointed I won't be able to use all the dirt I have on him for the 2024 election.
That's right. You were ready for that.
We'll leave it be.
Oh, I did all this research. Now I have to put it away.
It's all right.
okay.
Save it for when he tries to run for president.
And who would his constituency be?
All of the same people that voted for McMullhead.
McMullhead and
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell. And,
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. The principled conservatives. Principled. Anyways.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Yes, Bush. Thank you.
Correct.
Thank you, George.
As usual, George.
Thanks, Georgie. So
Oh.
I think without further ado, because we got a heavy story on our lineup. This one hits on three different bases for us, at least, with our faith and cause that we believe in, and Utah politics. All three in one story.
Yeah,
we
I
go.
don't understand why it's a big deal. So you're going to have to educate me on this, Trevor.
Yeah,
but
when
we'll
we
get into that.
When we get to it, you'll have to buckle up. But for now, it is time for
Buckle up, Buttercup. It's time for the vitamin B. Welcome to your vitamin B.
Oh, thank you.
We come to you today with news in hand. So much
Ant-Man.
news. News, not noose. News.
Oh,
News in hand. Yes.
important distinction.
Important that you notice the pronunciation there.
Enunciate, Mike.
Yes.
Don't forget.
Yes. Must enunciate to make sure that nobody misunderstands me. First on the docket today, Zelensky passes around offering plate during UN speech. As he should. As he should. In other Zelensky news, Zelensky upset to hear one of his jets has been ruined. In related news, it's bad luck. The military announces lost F-355 was carrying Epstein's client list. It's gone.
Dang it.
Gone forever. But on a positive note, they are all over it. Military personnel seen wandering forest pressing button on F-355 key fob. For all of you that are worried about the morals in politics, you really should just lay your fears aside. Lauren Boebert attempts to smooth things over with new line of purity rings. And in other news, semi-related, Trump brags he could abort a baby on Fifth Avenue and not lose voters.
Oh, yeah, there's that.
Oh, that's edgy. That is edgy.
But not to be outdone, House Democrats threatened to keep the government open.
Oh, please no. I'll do whatever you want.
Let's not jump to any hasty decisions here.
Yes. Many of you have heard about the ongoing tribulations that the Biden family has been going through, but they are currently relieved. And they celebrated today as Hunter was only being indicted on gun charges. In an official statement, the White House said there is no direct evidence that Hunter Biden actually exists.
Hunter who? I have my son Bo.
That's great.
And last but not least, bringing it pretty close to home, Democrats scramble to find replacement for retiring Mitt Romney.
Oh, they're scrambling, all right.
And this has been your Vitamin B.
Fabulous.
That was almost awful.
The harmony. The harmony is what sells it.
I had no idea what I was doing.
It's all right. Neither does anybody else.
That makes three of us.
Oh, good
So-
times. Good
So,
times.
If there was one soundbite that could best introduce this bushel,
One soundbite.
that soundbite would sound a little something like this.
See, I belong to a certain secret society. I don't believe I gotta mention its name. You know?
Correct.
Correct.
I have yet to be disappointed with the button of choice for that.
I aim to please.
I aim to please. How does one acquire this power?
Through sheer dumb luck.
And a soundboard that's filled with almost all appropriate sounds.
Yes, more or less. I'm not good because I'm good. I'm good because I can't be bad.
I can't miss.
I can't miss.
I am inside the barn with a shotgun. I can't miss.
Yeah. All right.
So,
well, let's dig into it.
'tis the season for treason season, if you will. If that's not a shirt, it needs to be, by the way. Treason season. Anyway, starting off in Tejas, where we talked about it when it first broke down, but Ken Paxton was being impeached for reasons, apparently. And this all started back in May. And what's curious is the House voted to impeach him without having any trial, without having Ken Paxton defend himself, without any lawyers for Ken Paxton defending himself, without any of the body of the House be able to review the evidence presented against Ken Paxton, and they had to vote within 10 hours or 24 hours of the thing dropping onto the House floor to vote on. And they voted to impeach him.
So is Ken Paxton, is he like...
He's the Attorney General of Texas.
That would make me think that he's a good Attorney General, or is he like Soros funded, or what's the angle here?
He has yet to lose a case against the federal government.
Oh.
He's really good at what he does.
He is probably the best AG in the States.
Though I really like Sean Reyes, too.
Yes, he is a very close, arguable second.
In Utah, he's great. Yeah.
Yes. Anyways, it finally got to the Senate, where the Senate decided, how about we actually look at some stuff and, I don't know, have kind of a trial before we vote on this? Where it was revealed that the whistleblowers that went to the FBI with their evidence admitted under oath, we went to the FBI with no evidence. To which the Senate said, all right, well, we're done, and dropped all impeachment charges.
That sounds like how politicking is done. I mean, the first part, not the second part. The second part is like...
The second part sounds reasonable.
Things. Yeah. The second part is like how Texas should do things, but like the first part where they're like, yeah, we went to trial with no evidence. Like, isn't that how you do it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you've thrown off the Emperor's groove.
Yeah, the main whistleblower. I don't recall that we collected any evidence. But he had good faith belief of criminal activity. I believed he was doing something wrong. Now, if you really want to dig into the story, which I don't have links for or anything like that, but if you really want to dig into the story, you'll find that the Bushes are connected to this. The Bushes are connected to this, and a bunch of other wishy-washy Republicans, rhinos, are all involved with getting him impeached. So, yeah. And, of course, this all started, it was absolutely not at all because the Ken Paxton called out the Speaker of the House of Texas for showing up drunk to work. And it went a little something like this, just as a refresher, in case you missed it the first time. It went a little something like this.
Mr. Campbell, send out the amendment is acceptable to the author. Is there objection to the opposite amendment? The chair has done. The amendment is adopted.
Is he drunk?
The chair recognizes Mr. Johnson of Harris. Mr. Johnson of Harris to speak in opposition to the bill. The chair recognizes Ms. Niave Criado to speak in opposition to the bill.
Well, at least he got words out, so that makes him more competent than our president.
He is not as think as you drunk he is.
I swear there's no blood in my alcohol level, Ossifer.
What seems to be the officer problem?
So the day after...
Officer, it's hi. How are you?
How high are you? How high are you? Hi, how are you?
So that happened. And why is that not changing? Anyway, that happened. And the next day, Ken Paxton released a thing like, was he drunk? If he's drunk and being Speaker of the House, that's no good, and he needs to resign or be impeached. I think it was the next day or the day after that, the impeachment stuff dropped down on Ken Paxton.
Huh.
And to give you an idea of who this Speaker of the House is, he's a Republican in Texas. Speaker of the House makes sense. He puts Democrats in charge of the major committees. So the Republicans get nothing done in Texas. because this guy puts the Democrats in charge.
Yeah, that guy was drunk.
Yeah. Only piss drunk.
Okay, so Ken Paxton is the AG, and then who was the guy that was drunk?
The Speaker of the House of Texas.
And I would imagine he'd be Republican, or is he not?
He is Republican. He refuses to bring to the floor anything about parental rights or anything about school choice or
So
things
he's
like that.
Democrat.
So he's like
Democrat.
he's like a Mitt Romney of Texas.
A drunk Mitt Romney, yes. If
Gotcha.
Mitt Romney drank, that's who we'd have.
If Mitt Romney
Drink what?
in public.
Just kidding.
Mitt Romney, if you will.
If Mitt Romney. I like it.
Little
like it.
Willard.
Heading a little west of Texas, New Mexico. The governor is on a speed run to see how quickly she can get impeached. She decided it'd be a good idea to suspend the Second Amendment because it's a public health crisis. Now, where did I hear something about that being a thing? Oh, we talked about that being a thing before.
You mean the fact that it's not a thing?
Yeah. And she overstepped the bounds so hard that even David Hogg from the Parkland shooting, who is probably the most anti-gun person vocally on the Twitterverse and wherever else, said, it's a bit much.
There is no provision.
Yeah. He was also admitted to Harvard based off of his activism.
Yes. And so when you have the leftist of lefties coming out of the woodwork.
How sad is it
No.
to get admitted to a college not based on being good at anything, but just based on the fact that you're a loud ass bitch?
I mean,
Andrew Brown Jackson.
I was like, seriously though.
again, refer to our conversations of how colleges are useless.
You could go ask Elizabeth Warren.
Yes. I might be more
Wait.
Indian than she is.
I was about to say, wait, should I ask the white Elizabeth Warren or the Native American Elizabeth Warren?
You'll only get one. You only get 1 in 1,024th of an answer.
I think she wasn't admitted to Harvard based off of her Native American lie
Something like that.
or
Yeah.
whatever, but she was in Harvard later in life.
But yeah. So yeah, it was such a bad decision that the Democrat AG of New Mexico came out and said, "Yeah, I'm not defending you. I'm not defending
Also
the
not
governor
enforcing it,
of
yeah.
my state."
And he's of the same party too. I believe he's a Democrat as well.
Yep. And the police chief of the whatever the city is there. Gosh dang it, I just forgot.
Albuquerque.
Yeah, the police chief of Albuquerque said, "Yeah, it's gonna be a no from me, dog." and
Just like that, actually.
And the sheriffs in the two counties in question were both like, "Nah." And of course, a protest came out where people were armed to the teeth in the protest.
Of course, as they should
And
be.
the police and the sheriff just stood by and watched. And it was taken to a court, and the court ruled almost right away. A Biden nominee to the courts ruled, yeah, no, you can't be doing that. So she decided, okay, I guess I'll just do it in parks and schools. You can't have it in parks and schools, which was in the original order. So she's going against the original order by just having less of the original order. So
Brilliant.
So she's in violation of the court things, especially if she tries to get someone to enforce it. But yeah,
That
it's
sounds
just-
like they should be having a protest in.
It's just
parks.
a 30-day suspension of the Constitution. And she also said that she doesn't believe that, her oath is an absolute and all that stuff, which, it's kind of the definition of an oath.
I think she also made a stupid statement that basically said, well, the Second Amendment only applies at the federal level. It doesn't apply to the state level. Like she literally implied that the Constitution doesn't apply in New Mexico. And
except for even in New Mexico, New Mexico's Constitution says that you can't touch the Second Amendment.
What do you think? That's what they do. They can make up anything.
And it was so bad also that CNN whipped out the New Mexico Constitution to ask questions. Hey, it says here you can't do this, so why are you doing this?
You know it's bad when CNN is actually doing some good reporting.
She had zero allies in this whole thing.
She was expecting everyone to just come to her defense like they did for Joe Biden.
Yep.
I'm setting up precedent for you.
Overplayed the hand there. So we'll see how long she remains governor.
That's not setting up precedent. That's how you get lynchings and mobs. It's not a good way to go.
This is beyond political suicide.
Yeah. Do you want to get tarred and feathered? This is how you get tarred and feathered.
Yes.
Make tar and feathers great again.
Yes. Moving on to Arkansas.
Hey, Arkansas.
The FBI raided the home of a man who had the audacity to be at the Capitol on January 6th.
Ooh.
And part of their raid was to cover up security cameras and to cut off the internet to the guy's house before raiding his house, to supposedly serve a warrant that they had. And what makes this an even bigger story than it normally would have been, aside from the audaciousness of the whole January 6th stuff, is he had a safe from a particular company, Liberty Safe. And it turns out Liberty Safe just, had a backdoor access to the safe for the FBI when they called and said, hey, can we get this open? Sure thing, here it is. Which is odd because multiple users reported that when they called to try to access their safe because they forgot the code or the combination, Liberty Safe responded with, you have to get a locksmith to figure that out.
Liberty Safe?
Yeah.
I swear, they're called Liberty Safe, and they had a back door that they just gave to the FBI.
Uh-huh.
That is not good for their reputation.
No.
Nobody wants to let the FBI in through the back door. That's a terrible way to do things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And they released a statement rather quickly because they realized that the Bud Light train was heading their way. So they released a statement really quickly, mentioning that they were following the warrant and all that stuff, which begs into question: how did the FBI know he had a Liberty Safe for the warrant? Which brings into question: was it actually on the warrant for the FBI to search the safe? Because the warrant is
Nazi fags.
Yes. Because the warrant has to be very specific in where you are searching and what you are searching for. You can't just higgledy-piggledy go in, turn a house upside down, and find whatever you want to find.
No. They detail those warrants.
Yeah.
It's very, very specific things. They are allowed to search your office stuff. They're allowed to search whatever XYZ things that they've gotten approval to check.
The warrant would have to specifically say they could check the safe.
Yes.
Yeah. In order for them to access the safe, the warrant would have to specifically say they could access the safe.
And if that's the case, okay, Liberty Safe followed the instructions of the warrant.
The fact that they have a back door, that alone is not good for the company.
Yes.
Because if they didn't have the back door, Liberty Safe wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Right. They'd say,
just say, yeah, we'd be happy to
better grab a drill.
Cooperate. Yeah, exactly.
You should call a locksmith.
Yes.
Yeah. Like
Good
that should be Liberty Safe adhering to the warrant. But if they had a back door ready to go, that is not good for the company's reputation.
Yeah, they've also responded with if you're nervous about the back door thing, you can go to this website and have your safe removed from the back door list.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure it is.
Yeah, it still doesn't change the fact that you told us there was zero way for me to access my safe when I lost my code. But now you're saying I have to go to this website to get rid of the backdoor code to open my safe. And I'm sure there's zero copies of that list anywhere else on the internet or on the cloud or on another employee's computer or anything like that.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
No. And of course, people decided to dig into that, and they found out that the CEOs of Liberty Safe donated heavily to the Obama campaign and other Democrat political things. So, there's that.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well.
I'm kind of glad this happened now and not later, because I was about to buy a Liberty Safe. Now I got to do shopping again. Dang it. September 11th, the anniversary of that occurred last week.
Yes, it did.
22 years ago. And to celebrate, Joe Biden went to Alaska to turn off the oil.
No, you look like an idiot.
I have a feeling I know what his priority was.
Yeah.
Like when you want to commemorate 9/11, the first thing you think of is I need to go to Alaska.
I need to go to the other side of the country
to commemorate 9/11. Like I suspect his priority was to shut down the oil, and it's like, oh yeah, it's 9/11. Okay, fine. We'll do some kind of
I'll say some words or something.
We'll say stuff.
And then he proceeded to lie about his story of 9/11 too, of where he was at. And
oh yeah, he said that he went to 9/11 the next day, which is obviously a lie because even George Bush didn't get there until the 14th.
Right. Yeah, it took him like a week to actually get there. Yeah, and then this should be fine because if you haven't been paying attention to gas prices, they've only gone up 30 cents since Labor Day, which is usually when gas prices start going down.
Oh.
And
it's up 20 cents from last year this time.
If it's going up in the winter, just think of what it'll do in the summer next year.
It's gonna be great. That's Bidenomics.
Stop it. Get some help.
Don't even get some help. Just stop it.
Just stop it.
Just stop it. Stop it. Go away. His celebrations weren't over, though, at least as far as the administration as a whole goes. On September 11th, the State Department announced that they were getting some hostages out of Iran.
Oh, good.
Which should be good. 5 hostages out of Iran.
5 hostages. Yeah, we need to bring those Americans home.
In exchange,
so, what did they threaten the Iranians with if they didn't acquiesce?
If
Trevor,
they threatened Iran with giving them $6 billion and 5 Iranian prisoners.
No, see, the correct response here is you give us back our people or we glass your entire country.
That's how you negotiate with terrorists. Is you don't negotiate with terrorists.
Have you ever seen?
You can blow them up.
Have you ever seen Fifth Element?
Yes.
Yes, but it was a long time ago, so I don't.
Walks in the room, shoots the one guy. Anybody else want to negotiate? That's how you negotiate.
Pretty much.
Yes.
But $6 billion? Holy crap!
Yeah. When questioned about it.
Hold on. I'm trying to wrap my head around the $6 billion for 5 Americans.
And $6 billion and 5 Iranian.
And 5 Iran. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
All right, I've heard enough. Deadly force authorized.
Deadly force.
They had to be terrorists because it's not like we go around kidnapping, Iranian tourists.
Yeah. And it's not like the Iranian government would want anybody else back. Just saying.
He's just a lowly farmer. We don't want.
Anyway,
we want the guy with the plans.
Could you explain to me what is the incentive to not kidnap Americans now under this regime?
Well, it's probably, it's probably a certain decreasing amount as the number of Americans grow, because you can't keep giving them $6 billion. So next time it's probably like 5.5. The next time it's 5, depreciating value.
Do you remember when we shut down the government? What year was that? Was that 2018?
Which time?
Too long ago.
That we shut down the government around Christmas time because Trump wanted a wall and like Congress wouldn't give him the wall, whatever.
It was somewhere around there, yes.
2018, 2019, something like that. Wasn't the amount Trump was asking for, wasn't it $4 billion for a wall? And we gave them $6 billion for a couple of Americans by negotiating with terrorists.
Antony Blinken clarified when asked about that. He said, we didn't give them $6 billion. We just unfroze $6 billion of their dollars.
So they already had $6 billion of American money that the U.S. had flagged to not use. To take out of circulation, essentially.
And we unflagged. The American taxpayer isn't paying for this. It's money that they already had.
Wait, the good news is $6 billion now back in circulation outside of the U.S. So our inflation just slowed down by about 0.5%.
Instead of a full 6%, it's 0.6%. It's a 0.5%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, to be clear, this deal was struck about a month ago, but they waited until September 11th
to announce
this deal to the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism.
No! You dense, irritating miniature beast of burden!
Conversation probably went something like this. Okay, yeah, we'll make that deal, but in order to make that deal, you have to announce it. They're not going to go for this. They'll go for it. You have to announce it on September 11th. I don't see why we can't do that. That's fine. Yeah, September 11th, we'll announce it. They're going to do it. It's probably
how that... my genius. It generates gravity.
Yes. I need to watch that show some more. Missouri. We're going to Missouri now. Apparently in Missouri, if you are Christian, you can be kicked off of a jury.
I'm interested. Just kidding.
You mean I can get out? Yeah, that was my initial response. But then
I'm for it. Just kidding. No,
but then
not
I
really.
thought, hold on. If I'm supposed to have a trial by my peers and then I get arrested, there's not going to be any Christians on the jury.
Oh, that's a good point. You got to see it from the other angle.
Yes. Yeah, the AG of Missouri, Andrew Bailey, has asked the Supreme Court this week to hear a case over disqualifying jurors based on their Christian beliefs, saying that the Constitution doesn't support religious discrimination. Missouri's top cop claims trial court struck jurors from considering Jean Fanny's employment discrimination claims against her employer, the State Department of Corrections, simply because they held Christian beliefs. So the AG realized, hey, they kicked all the Christians off of this jury. No. No. So yeah. So that's fun. That's fun.
I mean, it couldn't happen to a better state.
It is miserable. Yes.
No, I'm pretty sure it says in the scriptures somewhere that you don't want to ever go to the Gulf of Missouri.
I mean, they have a history of, treating religious figures well.
They do have a certain history, yes. Belong to a certain society. California.
Oh, yay.
Just the Senate, we've talked about this before, but it has moved on. It is now sitting on Governor Gruesom's desk. A bill that would punish parents who don't affirm their kids' mental illness. I mean, transgenderism.
They don't affirm their gender identity is the euphemism. This is the going euphemism these days.
I think Elon Musk summed it up the best. This bill is a wolf in sheep's clothing. What it actually means is that if you disagree with the other parent about sterilizing your child, you lose custody.
So they're basically making it illegal in California to live a traditional life. My question is, as bad as California is now, what is it going to look like when all of the traditional people leave?
I think this is actually a step further than that. I believe the way this one is worded leaves it open-ended for the state to take children away from parents if the parents entirely if the parents don't affirm a gender identity,
and just a reminder,
anybody in the state finds out about it.
This bill showed up in the House right after that dad in Texas was fighting for his life to get his son out of the hands of his mentally deranged ex-wife's hands, because she kept dressing him up in girls' clothes, and the son admitted in court, like, I'm not a girl, I don't want to be a girl, but she keeps dressing me up as a girl and forcing me to be a girl.
The kid admitted that in court? My gosh.
And the court said, the father's just messing with his brain.
The father's
yes,
with his brain.
The mother,
because it's perfectly natural.
The mother then fled to California, and this bill appeared on the House floor in California. So yeah, and California quickly passed another bill that made it illegal to extradite kids out of the state to
other states,
change custody.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then Texas's hands were tied in doing any further legal action.
So last time we talked about like dating advice and stuff, like marriage advice. This is some more advice for you. On your first date, you need to ask, what is a woman?
Yes. Question 1.
That is my new advice for this generation.
And in case you forgot,
my advice is just don't.
Just don't.
Not worth it anymore.
Just call it a loss. So, in case you forgot, this is the guy that authored the bill. This guy right here. Senator Scott Wiener from San Francisco. Absolutely 100% does not look at all like he's a pedophile. Just making that, just want to make sure that's understood.
I can't look at that picture without Scotty doesn't know blaring through my head. It's a great song. It's a great song.
In a bit of good news, before we get to the real heavy stuff here, do you want to move to Oklahoma?
I do now.
Do you want to go back to school?
I do now.
As much as we've berated the educational system, Oklahoma has fixed the educational system.
With trade school.
Murray State College is offering the first in the nation bachelor's degree in gunsmithing.
As in making guns?
Yes.
That's awesome.
I've never wanted a degree so bad in my life.
It makes me so happy.
It's when I learn about degrees like this that makes me think that I chose the wrong field.
Correct.
This is up there with volcanology.
Yeah. See, I thought I was unique with thinking it'd be fun to go and get a degree in mixology, just so I could say I have my bachelor's in mixing drinks.
I was gonna say, is that a degree in alcoholism or a degree in being a DJ? I'm not sure which one.
You learn how to create the beverages.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. Just because I thought that was fun. Now, this would be really fun and actually useful to me.
That's fair.
And the biggest thing I'm looking forward to with this is the whole legal battle behind it. So this is the state has checked this off. It's gone through the legislature and all that stuff. But the legal battle that's going to be behind it is the federal government stepping in and saying, this college isn't a FFL. You're not licensed to build firearms. And I would just hope that the college turns around and says, okay, where do we sign?
Yeah.
No, that's not the response you're supposed to have. You're supposed to, where do we sign? Where do we? You're not supposed to have guns in schools. That's fine. We're teaching them how to make the guns. That's not.
This is private property, and the college can determine those rules itself.
I wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma is one of the states like Utah where you are allowed to have concealed firearms on campus. There's a handful of states that do that, and so this would be just all the better of forget the conceal. It's full open. Here's my rifle.
Did you say Utah is a state where you can have concealed firearms?
If you have a concealed permit, you can carry said weapon onto state property aside from courthouses and stuff like that.
I did not know that. No wonder Utah doesn't have very many.
Yep, because at any given moment in a school in Utah, from my personal experience, elementary schools have 2 to 3 firearms in the school. Middle schools have 3 to 6. High schools have 6+ firearms in the school at any given time.
There are a few provisions to it. So if you carry on school grounds, you must have the firearm on your person at all times or secured in a locker.
Yeah. Can't just leave it in your backpack or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyone from teachers to custodians to maintenance to administration, I've seen all of them carry. And the reason why I know they carry is because when you carry, you recognize when other people carry.
Yes. And it makes you feel all warm and tingly inside when you see other people
There's a
carry.
certain brotherhood there.
Oh my gosh. I went to Ireland, right? And we're driving from the airport to our hotel in Dublin. And the cabbie was talking, and he starts going off about how dangerous it is in America. And he's like, how do you guys live with like shootings and stuff all the time? And like, aren't you afraid? And all this stuff. And I'm like, no. He's like, really? I'm like, it really doesn't happen that often where we live. And if it did, I'm armed. and then we were asking him about where we were at. And he's like, oh yeah, there's like next to no crime here. But you want to stay away from like everywhere. It was literally like, don't go out after dark. Like you guys literally are in the worst part of town. and he's like, but you're an American, so you know how to handle yourself. You'll be okay. And I was like, I don't know how to handle myself. I don't need to know how to handle myself. I'm allowed to carry a gun in my house.
That's the thing. I don't have it here.
He thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really interesting talking to him about it because he thought America was just so dangerous everywhere. And I'm like, no, it's really not that bad. Like, unless you go to Chicago, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, just stay out of Chicago and New York City and L.A. New Orleans.
Yeah. Avoid like the 5 or 6 biggest cities in our country. You'll be fine.
Tell you what, whatever city you're going to, see how long Democrats have been in control.
Yeah,
and kind of base your decision off of that.
Like even Salt Lake City is not a great place to be after dark.
Nah.
Salt Lake City's not bad at all though. Compared
to everything else.
Yeah, compared to like LA and stuff. But yeah.
If you've ever been to Georgia, if you've ever been in Atlanta, yeah.
Isn't Baltimore even like more dangerous than Chicago?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Baltimore, Chicago, L.A., New York, and I believe Atlanta is actually one of them. There's like 6 or 7 cities. If you remove those 6 or 7 cities from the statistics, the U.S. is like in the bottom 10 for gun violence.
It's one of the safest nations on earth. Yeah. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yep.
Yeah.
So here's a quote from the gunsmithing program chair at the Oklahoma school. The idea was this is an investment in an industry that can locate in our state and regionally. We have the ability distribution wise to become a powerhouse in this. Basically, we want to be pumping guns out of the state like no other. So they already had a 2-year program, so this is now becoming a 4-year bachelor's degree instead of just a 2-year technical degree.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're in or around or have been thinking of going to Oklahoma, there's an option.
I wasn't, but I am now.
I shared this with a.
Do they do it online?
Online.
Is this an online course?
At work. I asked him before I told him the story. I said, have you ever thought about moving to Oklahoma or going to school there? Because he's from around somewhere in the Midwest there. He said, Oklahoma is the worst place. There's nothing there. Nice. Oh, okay. Well, there's a school that's offering a bachelor's degree in gunsmithing. Did I say it's the worst place?
My opinion has changed. Like
you
that.
have my rapt attention.
You had my attention. Now you have my interest.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Wow. That's great.
So, on to Tim Ballard.
Oh, yay. The fun part.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can summarize the story because I am positive I do not know the whole story because I do not understand why this is a big deal.
You are.
So how about I sum it up?
You believe to be the least informed of us?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So
you are probably the least informed of us.
And then you guys correct me on everything. So the way I understand it is I believe it was Vox.com, who I believe is also going bankrupt.
Vice, but yes.
Vice, thank you.
Same
Vice
difference.
Vice went to the church contact me page and said, if you'd like to contact the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you can do it here. And so they emailed someone that was labeled as a church spokesman and asked about, I don't know, the relationship or friendship or something. If the church officially supports Tim Ballard based off of this friendship that he had with Elder Ballard, no relation between the two, a high leader in our church. And the church spokesman emailed him back and basically said, no, there's no like official like sponsorship or like the church does not officially support him. Like I don't recall exactly what the statement said, but you could say in the most cynical way possible that this church spokesman in a replied email said that, yeah, the church doesn't support Tim Ballard. That's like what they said. But then the Vice article said that it's like the church condemns Tim Ballard, even though there was no official church statement released. It was just a reply to an email from someone that calls themselves a church spokesman. And yeah, and everyone is taking it out of proportion.
That would be fantastic if that's the whole story.
All right. What was the rest of the story?
Now you know the rest of the story.
Well, not yet. We have to tell them the rest of the story first, Trevor.
Sorry. I just,
you jumped the gun there.
So excited.
Just a little premature detonation on your
Paul
part.
Harvey like that. I didn't want to forget.
Emotional damage.
So, first, a little background buildup. On September 13th, Mitt Romney announces he is not running for Senate.
Yay!
Yay!
And there was much rejoicing.
On September 14th.
A blessing from the Lord. God be praised.
Well done.
We're all LDS, we're all in Utah, and we all hate Romney.
Amen.
So it really brings us together at Sacrament meeting.
Really does. Really does. We get to talk over forgiveness while we just despise this man.
There's no room for hate. We don't hate him.
We don't hate him.
We just dislike him with the burning passion of a thousand white-hot burning
flaming
suns.
So
the next day, September 14th. So the 13th, Mitt Romney says no mas. September 14th, a James Kimmey on the Twitterverse. I refuse to change my terminology for Elon Musk. Tweets out multiple sources confirming that Tim Ballard, famous for the Sound of Freedom movie, is running for Senate in Utah. Ballard is looking to fill the seat of retiring Senator Mitt Romney. And that's something that when I saw that, I said, well, that makes sense because he's been leaving leadership roles in various organizations that he's part of.
Oh, yeah. That same day that Mitt Romney announced he was retiring, too, Sean Reyes, I guess, tweeted or posted something about finally being able to work with a real warrior.
Yes.
As well?
Yes. And along with that, like Reyes supposedly was looking into running for Senate, but is supposedly now just going to throw his support behind Tim Ballard.
Behind Ballard, yeah.
Because Reyes and OUR and Ballard have worked together a lot.
Yeah.
Over the years. But anyway, so that happens. And then September 15th, the article from Vice drops. Title of the article, Mormon Church denounces Tim Ballard's morally unacceptable activities. And it goes on to say a church spokesperson tells Vice News that Ballard, quote, betrayed his friendship, end quote, with a powerful leader who, quote, never authorized his name or the name of the church to be used for Tim's personal or financial interests, end quote. Now, one thing of note in this Vice article, because they say that it was an official statement from the church.
My understanding is it was a response from the Contact Me page from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, from a single guy. So most likely he didn't consult anyone when he made this response.
So Vice had been working on this piece since May of this year. They've been working on it since May because in May, a 2.5-year investigation into OUR from Davis County, Utah, ended. The investigation and all charges were dropped against Tim Ballard and OUR because they found nothing wrong.
Well, there you go.
Vice apparently is using their sources for quotes from Ballard and all this stuff like this one. Tim is fully convinced that he is supposed to be the, quote, Mormon Messiah and leader and lead people back to the church, end quote. Read notes from an interview between criminal investigators and a former OUR higher up. There is no link at all to go and cross-reference that quote on the Vice article.
So there's no source, but we're supposed to trust Vice.
Mm-hmm. Another one.
I trust Vice about as far as I can throw them.
Yes, the
Just
authors of
throw
this.
that out there.
The authors of this have come under scrutiny from us before. Anna Merlan and Tim Marchman. We've
picked apart their stuff before.
The handful of times, not even handful of times, that we've used Vice articles, we've picked them apart line by line because they blatantly lied on the articles. And Vice has all kinds of anti-Mormon articles. they're not too fond of the LDS Church. Another thing they have in here is insiders who spoke to federal and local investigators as part of a since-closed criminal inquiry described Ballard claiming that OUR and his personal business ventures were backed by senior members of the church's second highest leadership body and part of a larger mission to use the anti-trafficking cause to bring Americans to the Mormon faith, or in his words, lead them to the covenant. There's also something in here about him saying like he's modern day Nephi or something like that. And yeah. Now, red flags for this, just the Vice thing. There's no links to the statement from the church. There's no links to the investigation. There's no links to the court proceedings or any documents from the court where they're pulling all of this stuff from, supposedly. Other flags, this is 100% out of character for Tim Ballard. Every time I've seen him speak, read things that he wrote for articles, whatever, I have not seen him talk about his membership in the church or relationship with leadership of the church in any way, shape, or form to promote his brand.
Mm-hmm.
He may have said things in non-official capacities of, yes, I'm friends with Russell Ballard. I have no relation with him, but I have.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I believe the church, Elder Ballard himself has mentioned Tim Ballard. I don't know if it was like over a general conference pulpit, but like there are statements from Elder Ballard, the leader of the church, about Tim Ballard in various contexts. I mean, just like little things like, oh, I have this great friend, like very positive association type things like that he's mentioned when speaking to congregations or published on the church website.
Yes. Now, oh, they do have the statement on here. I wonder if they added it later because I didn't see it before. So they do have the full statement from the church. In response to a detailed request for comment on these matters, a spokesperson for the Church Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints sent a statement which reads in full: President Ballard and Tim Ballard, no relation, established a friendship a number of years ago. That friendship was built on a shared interest in looking after God's children wherever they are and without regard to their circumstance. However, that relationship is in the past. For many months, President Ballard has had no contact with the founder of Operation Underground Railroad. The nature of that relationship was always in support of vulnerable children being abused, trafficked, and otherwise neglected. Once it became clear Tim Ballard had betrayed their friendship through the unauthorized use of President Ballard's name for Tim Ballard's personal advantage and activity regarded as morally unacceptable, President Ballard withdrew his association. President Ballard never authorized his name or the name of the church to be used for Tim's personal or financial interests. In addition, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints never endorsed, supported, or represented OUR, Tim Ballard, or any projects associated with them. President Ballard loves children all over the world. It has been his mission and life's work to look after them, care for them, and point them to their Savior.
Okay, so yeah, the way that I interpret that statement is they're basically saying, responding to allegations that Tim Ballard is using the church's name or Elder Ballard's name in some sort of like, oh yes, they support me, even though we can't find like instances of him doing that. Those are allegations. And the church is saying that they don't officially support Tim Ballard personally or any organization. We do support, suffering children generally, but they don't officially support or like political organizations or organizations like that just because they can't vouch for the behavior of those sorts of things. Yeah. Those sorts of organizations. And that's fair. That's a completely fair statement. And once again, you have to understand that this wrongdoing those are allegations. And if the church is going to condemn someone, they better be darn sure that the allegations are true. And that's not what this is. Like an email response from a spokesman is not a church official statement. That is a response from a spokesman. That's not the same thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And it doesn't really condemn Ballard either, Tim Ballard. It's just like, other than using his name. But again, this was Vice reaching out. Hey, Tim Ballard's been doing all kinds of stuff using your name and stuff.
Yeah, and so Vice saying, "Oh, the church's position is to condemn Tim Ballard for wrongdoing." No. At best, you could say this church spokesman, in a response to an email, which is not the same thing as an official church statement, is saying they don't have any official support if these allegations are true. So they're responding to allegations. Yeah. Are there receipts on Tim Ballard wrongdoing?
I have not seen anything, no, and I've dug into this a lot because it hits on, like I mentioned before, it hits on multiple notes.
I didn't think so. So yeah, I think you could say that the church spokesman responded a little harshly to taking the allegations too seriously. So it was very distancing language, which is like the job of spokesman, frankly. But yeah, so you could maybe quibble about it was too strongly worded or something, but ultimately it's saying that the church is not officially endorsing any particular person or any particular organization, which is totally fair and totally normal for an organization like the church.
Yep. So almost right away, Fox 13, the Utah Fox affiliate, picks up the story and does their own thing on it with zero links. Again,
Fox 13, that's the Utah arm of Fox, right?
Yes. Yep.
My gosh.
And basically say a lot of the same stuff because they're just pulling it all from Vice without any links.
It's like how the media does business these days.
And then there's multiple articles on Fox. I just picked two of them. Another one, the day after the 16th, was going after Tim Ballard's response to the condemnation from the church, where Tim Ballard denies any of that stuff being true. He says, "I don't believe the church did this," which is weird. The church would go after someone very specific like that in an official capacity. Oh, yeah, here's one. The records reportedly state Tim Ballard received psychic readings and communication from the prophet Nephi to get intel.
Why Nephi?
There's a psychic that you are supposedly employs regularly, who her claim is that she speaks with deceased prophets. Nephi being
all right, well, whatever. I don't care if you're if you jump up and down and do the chicken dance before you rescue trafficked children. If you're trafficking children,
are the children
doing
rescued
more
or
than
not?
I could ever do. Yeah.
I love through most of these articles how they just keep hammering, saying it's exaggerated. The stories of his success are exaggerated. It's exaggerated, but he's had success. Nobody knows most of the actual stories about their success.
To slam his success too. They didn't save that many kids. He didn't save.
Well, the funniest thing is one of their biggest complaints about
kids, he saved 997.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like Sound of Freedom. Well, it was a dramatization and it wasn't accurate. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't accurate. He didn't save 13 kids on the island. He saved something like 30 something. There was a bunch of them. It was more. Like,
sorry, we couldn't fit all the extras in one scene.
Seriously.
Or pay for that many extras.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, anybody knows that when you go and you see a movie that's based on a true story, they had to add some embellishment. They had to take some things out to make the story a movie. Watchable. Yeah, you have to.
You got to keep the audience.
It's for entertainment.
In the story.
In the end, movies are entertainment. Period. Unless it's a documentary, it's entertainment. That movie is entertainment, which means it had to be altered
to watch the documentary.
Exactly. Yeah, it had to be altered to be entertaining. Now, the way that they altered it is they took some boring stuff out, they exaggerated a couple of things, and they under-exaggerated some things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's... If you want to know the actual story, go look it up. Because it's still incredible.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and one thing that I realized with this, with the church being supposedly so publicly condemning of one of its members, when Harry Reid told the world that, yes, I lied about Mitt Romney, and I'm glad that he's not president because of my lie. Mitt Romney is a member, and Harry Reid, he's deceased now, but he was a member. And the church released 0 statements about that.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
a very egregious thing to do.
All the years that Romney's been in office and the church has never made a statement about him like that.
Well, once again, this is not a church statement.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
This is very different.
Yes, I will get to him too.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like,
and on top of that, all of the members of the church that have been in the House or the Senate that have voted on bills that specifically go directly against teachings of the church and things that would harm the church in political and financial ways. And they do 0 condemnation of those people either. So it's like this doesn't fit. So it doesn't fit the character of Tim Ballard. It doesn't fit the public face of the church. So this whole thing is just bad everywhere.
Well, when you read the full statement, it's not nearly as bad as they're spinning it either. Like,
no, that's absolutely true.
Like there's one sentence in there that's a little, it's a little more abrasive than the church generally is.
Friendship thing.
Yeah, that line is a little harsh.
That's a little harsh.
But overall, again, the letter is essentially just saying we don't have anything to do with him.
Yeah, like when did they even do that? Like, when did Tim Ballard even betray his friendship? As he says, like, I'd like to see some receipts on that.
Yes. All of this investigation going on, and none of them's pulled up the thing that shows Tim Ballard doing what they're claiming he did, of using the church or M. Russell Ballard's name to promote himself or OUR.
No, the only thing that they have in any of their stuff is so-and-so from OUR said that he said this.
Yep. And or whatever.
And half of them aren't even he actually said this. It's I think he thinks this, which is just bullshit.
Kind of like the Texas AG thing.
Yeah.
I believe that he thinks this.
Yeah.
Did he actually say that? Well, no, but I believe that he thinks that.
That's apparently how we do justice now in the United States.
Yeah. So I decided to do a little bit of digging. And if you want to dig and go into those weeds, you can.
No, I'm good.
So Melanie Porter was the journalist behind the first one I talked about, the Morally Unacceptable. It's basically copy-paste of Vice. Dug into her stuff. You can find her LinkedIn page and do whatever you want with that. But her background is she studied journalism. That's her background. She studied journalism, like recently. So that's her credentials. Is she was in school recently that's full of indoctrinated progressive whateverisms, and doesn't actually teach you how to be a journalist to become a journalist. And then the guy that did the second article, the Tim Ballard response, Adam Herbets, and you dig into him, and he loves to brag about himself. His LinkedIn is scattered with all kinds of Academy Awards that he's won and whatever else in journalism awards, and studied journalism at multiple schools and all kinds of stuff like that, and worked at various not conservative places. Couple that with Fox as a whole seems to be currently trying to brand itself as not conservative leaning at best. With ousting Tucker Carlson because of his religious take on things, and the leadership of Fox not liking religion. So there's that in the background as well. And then the spokesperson for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, his name is on one of these, and I can't remember what it is. Anyways, I dug into his LinkedIn, and the beginning of his LinkedIn is Democrat campaign stuff that he worked at, studied political science in school, and now he's the spokesperson for the church. So for that to be an official statement from the church, I would feel like that's him going rogue and not clearing the statement with the leadership of the church. Which
right. Again, I feel fit. I feel like a spokesman, they are allowed to respond to these sorts of things, but that's not the same thing as a church statement.
No.
We don't even have any assurance that a church statement is something that they collaborate on.
A statement from the church is posted on the church website.
Exactly.
This is not posted on the church website.
And they also collaborate on it. And then they post it on the church website in an official manner. This was never posted on the church website. We have no assurance that he collaborated with anyone on it. Good for him. He can speak in, HR speak, PR speak, good for him. And I feel like that's what the statement reflects, but there are a lot of things wrong with it. That's not the same thing as a church statement.
Yep.
So go ahead.
Then on top of all that, on the church website, there was an article highlighting Tim Ballard and OUR, and that was deleted from the site on the 15th when the Vice article dropped. It's like, why? Why? So there's all kinds of stuff going on around this that's just dumb.
So it's being blown out of proportion as far as I can tell. If I were to give a conclusion on this seems to be a hit piece from Vice.
Yes, 100%.
They were looking for dirt. They contacted the church, and they did their darndest to twist the authority of the church to make it seem like Tim Ballard is condemned by the church, where at best you could just say that the church that the spokesman responded in a admittedly poorly worded response that the church doesn't have any official affiliation with entities or people, especially that are trying to, gain politically.
But I believe each of the 12, each of the apostles have their own spokesperson on top of that too. So
yeah, that's probably true.
If he betrayed Elder Ballard's friendship, then let's hear from him.
If Sean Reyes is going to support Tim Ballard for Senate, I'm probably on board. I haven't vetted the rest of the candidates. I do like the mayor of Riverton, but again, I have to see what the lineup makes. But one thing I will say is I would say this is politicking 101 in 2023. You need to support the person that the media is going after the most. So this bodes very well. This whole thing being blown out.
This is on the heels of all the stuff they tried to do with the movie that he made. So
just the fact that the media is trying to smear him makes me like him even more.
It's kind of having the Donald Trump effect on me, where not necessarily that I wouldn't support Tim Ballard at all, but I didn't want to support Donald Trump at all. But then they kept attacking him.
Until they kept attacking him?
And attacking him. Like, guys, he's not that bad. He's not that bad. He's not that. Okay, you know what? I support him. Yeah. So, yeah, that's extract from that what you will and come to your own conclusions. My conclusion is there's way too many red flags for this to be a 100% truthful story.
Oh, I'm shocked. You mean Vice released something that wasn't 100% truthful? I'm shocked.
Yeah. Weird.
So anyway, the conclusion is the media is stupid. Don't listen to the media. This is something we already knew. Nothing new under the sun.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. Now you know the rest of the story.
Good.
There. Did I channel the Paul Harvey correctly there for you, Mike?
Good enough.
Good enough. I'll allow it. Oh, goodness. That's it. That's all I got. That's all the bushel has to offer.
Thanks, Satan.
It's subtle, actually.
Thanks, Satan, as we talk about Tim Ballard and the church. And make treason great again. Yeah. Next week, I should be able to come in next week. It's an earlier soccer game, so I can come in. But I have a fun history segment thanks to the kid that had the Gadsden flag on his backpack.
Nice.
And the school being dumb about it, and the teacher showing everybody that she has zero idea how to actually learn and teach. History into some of the symbols and flags and such of the United States. And I found some fun stuff that I didn't even know from before.
Woot.
Yeah, I learned something while trying to learn something.
That's impressive.
Shocker.
Tickle me impressed. Yeah. Color me impressed.
We'll have that to look forward to next week, because we don't have time to do it this week. And and whatever fun stuff happens throughout the week until then. But with all that, do all the subscribing, the liking, the sharing, the thumb upping, whatever else.
Indeed.
Whatever else your platform allows, rating, stars.
Rumble buttons.
Yes.
Push the rumble button.
5 stars is the appropriate amount of stars.
Yes. Indeed.
Well, except 4.5, but 5 is appropriate.
And we'll see you guys next week. Bye!
All right, now I'll push the button. Button is pushed.
You always push my buttons, Trevor.
I am a master button pusher. 3rd degree. There's that from my end. What? Get one from you, Mike.
I couldn't
actually
that.
Yeah, I actually couldn't. I couldn't hear the clap.
It's probably because he's got his noise canceling on.
No,
there was a very small little. It was like a golf clap over there. We have to whisper it this week. I got the clap and he's giving it to you. Much creepier when you whisper it that way.
Clap.
It's a Joe Biden
clap. It's working.
I read an article today that was like, who was it? Hillary said that he's probably going to die before he leaves office.
Wow.
Like, yeah,
That would imply
that's
that
not
he
shocking
is
at all
running.
coming from a Clinton. Does he have dirt on your family?
He's probably going to die before he leaves office. What do you know?
What do you know? But no. What does he know?
That's the thing. They're not sure what he remembers. They're just afraid the dementia will kick in and wear off.
Well, they're afraid the dementia will kick in and he'll think that he's in a private room when he's actually in the middle of a news conference. This is one time I was meeting with Hillary.
And we orchestrated the whole Epstein thing together.
Emails.
This is and then I told Zelensky. Wait, hold on. Wait,
what?
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Sounds correct.
That's fair.
I agree to the entire tinfoil conspiracy.
Hey, did you guys hear that those aliens down in Mexico are made out of cake?
I did hear that. That's what happens.
I thought they were real.
That's what happens when you get addicted to TikTok is you start going through your whole house to see how many inanimate objects are made out of cake. Turns out 0.
But when was the last time you thought about Rome?
Every day.
Every day. I think about Rome every day.
Every day.
Every day of my life.
Day. Yeah, my wife put me through that questioning. Just randomly. What do you ever think about Rome? Like,
actually, fairly frequently, oddly enough.
My response was more than usual. Yeah. What's usual? Well, regular amount, but more so now.
All right. I'll put it this way on how much I think about Rome. So my wife and I've left the continental United States, well, North and South America one time in my life. And I chose to go to Rome. There's a reason for that. It's because I think about the Roman Empire more than all the other empires.
I don't know. I think about Greece a little bit more than I think about Rome. Mostly because it's pronounced the same way that Greece is. And
I never did pass Rome Total War. That was on my backlog a long time before I gave it up.
I thought you were thinking about Greece because, you like the music and stuff, but.
Well, yeah, I also love Greek mythology and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's really fun, but
that Greece. Okay.
Yes. That's fair.
Tell me more. Tell me more. Anyway.
Summer lovin'. On that note, let's get started.
Push it.